Hello, hello, loves. How are you? This is another segment of EQ with JAH, and I'm going to continue my segments of Anatomy of, which are the breakdown of any and everything that I choose to talk about. So, this week I'm going to be talking about the anatomy of being gay. I was just sitting back and thinking about how amazing this journey in my life has been because of being gay. And I've been having conversations with some friends where they've been telling me like their struggles with coming out. And I realized like each person's introduction has been completely different. But the, you know what I mean? Like the elevator and the stairs, they're both much different ways of getting there. And there will be struggle and a lot more sweat on the stairs than the elevator. But at the end of the day, they both get you to the rooftop, the same rooftop. And I started to recognize the inequality in this. And I never understood, honestly, why most people weren't happy about being gay. And I forgot that once you step over that threshold of fear, literally, when you go past your comfort zones, life truly begins and you forget about the past. Like the things that seemed hard to me, like before I would never do, I just do now, like so flagrantly, and I don't think about it. And that's why it's also, you have to respect the journeys and you have to remember. And this is why teaching yourself is important, but also continually being open to teaching others is so vital. And that's why I started to go back and trace my journey. And I remember that emotionally, I was conditioned in a way that was through bullying, not realizing it was emotional bullying. I never had anyone physically beat me or hit me or hurt me or harm me when I was a child. My family was actually a very loving family, but they came from very strict backgrounds. My dad was military, my mother was from the church and from Chicago, and he grew up in the South. So very opposite ways of thinking. But what I did notice about them very early on is that my father was very sacred masculine energy, and my mother was definitely sacred feminine energy, which means not because she was a woman and she had biologically something, and same thing for the male, not because he had biologically something, they held their energy and their power of, I'm with her because her feminine energy, not attached biologically to her parts, but the energy she exudes, I'm attracted to. And for her, it was the same. And he also was attracted to, I'm going to mess with your mind, the divine masculine within her. Because I remember my father saying the strength it took for her to have those young children. You guys were young children when I met her. And she was working and she was going to school and she was taking care of you guys, and how she loved you, that made me love her more. That is saying you are in love with the divine masculine within all, because the divine masculine is the shell. So to perceive the protection in anything is saying you recognize the shell, which is the sacred masculine. So therefore, you loved anything that protects that way. And the same thing within her. She said she loved the divine feminine energy within him, how he could stop to be gentle and care and know that with anything else he could normally be a little rough or hard or this, but he could slow down and be gentle and understand how to apply pressure properly and understand how to give the proper detail. Just because you have big thick fingers doesn't mean that you don't understand the application of detail, love. There's little symbol things and symbiologies that we think we take for granted because of a stereotype. This was my introduction to divine masculine and feminine energy. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I loved it. But then at the same time, I was learning as a little boy that I was attracted to men. I didn't know what that meant either. I knew what attraction was. I had an example of love from my parents, but I didn't know what that meant energetically and emotionally. Because energetically is the intent you put behind it. That's what gives it the kinetic motion. But the just the emotion itself, that's the source, but it's the stagnant energy that can't move without your energy. So, in order to get your passions going, your understanding going, you have to invigorate them. Don't let yourself get swooped away by them, but you have to invigorate them enough that you see the potentiality in them and you start to grow with it. So, from that aspect of watching my family and how my mother and father raised us boys, I mean, we were boys who had to become men in a world that saw us as men, regardless of what we knew we were based on birth of anything. Beyond me being gay or this or that, I was still seen as a 6'4" black man walking out into America, and I had to understand what that meant. So my parents focused very much on presenting the best template or the best selves of ourselves that we can put forward. But what that left me with was I was empty inside. I was about 5 different levels of templates. I was proper. I was educated. I was charming. I was whatever. I was polite. I listened. I helped. I did everything that my mother said a good man is supposed to be. I opened doors. I was chivalrous. I stood on the outside of the sidewalks. I made sure that all my friends got home safe and they called me when they made it home. These are the things that my father taught me. I was a very good protector. But I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know how to love myself. My family, bless their heart, they taught me so well on how to protect the tribe that they never taught me how to protect myself and the tribe within inside of me. Within inside of each one of us, if you think about it this way, biologically, yes, we have a mother and a father who insert this egg and this seed and they become this creation. But it's the same thing with our energies. We each of us have a divine, sacred masculine energy, not just given from our father, but also given from our mother's side. This is why we have genealogy. They're given to us both. And then we also, but remember, divine masculine energy can also come from our grandmothers. If you come from a place where the grandmother and she was out in them fields and she was doing all the work and she had breaking her back, she was protecting the family, and that is father energy. That is protection energy. Mother, father has no sex. Remember that. That is a simple example of expression of energy. I'm protecting. And then to go home and also feed and take care of and nurture and love on and emotionally give that stability back, that is the mother. That is the love energy that comes back to say, it's okay, baby, it's okay, it's okay. And everyone has that within them. Everyone has the mother and the father within them. We just choose to collectively choose roles to identify with, and it becomes our character. It's not who we are, but we do have characters that we portray daily, and we have to recognize that, and we have to accept that, and understand the character is simply the drink I'm drinking that day. Just because I'm drinking that drink does not make me the drink, but there's people out there who represent brands as if this is their skin. Starbucks is not who you are. But it's become a culture for some people. They need their Starbucks, and that's okay. I'm not knocking people who drink Starbucks, but the culture that's around it. There's memes about people who need their Starbucks. That's when it becomes you're attached to the title and the culture that is now the character. So that was how I was introduced to the gay world. No one knew what gay was, and if they did know, it was something that we didn't talk about in my household. My aunt, who was openly gay, was disowned by my mother, which made no sense to me because I love my aunt and I love my cousins, but out of nowhere they were just gone. The same thing with my brothers. They didn't know how to explain what gay was because they were being homosocialized through men who barely talked to each other about anything, let alone share their emotions on what they feel about something that is so taboo as a child that we don't get to express ourselves energetically. This is all children, but I'm speaking from my perspective as a young boy growing up. Men are not actually told, it's okay to say you love me, bro. I love you too. I love who you are. I love what you do. But I hung out with all females. I hung out with my mama, my cousins. I hung out with all the girls because they were doing all the fun stuff. I'm feminine energy. I knew that from a very young age. You couldn't tell me I wasn't feminine energy. I knew it. There's a picture of me and my brother. He's sitting all like this, and I'm sitting my legs crossed with my cousin, like, and we were like 5 or 6 years old. But everyone knew I was gay before I knew I was gay. So I had to just accept this world they built around protecting me from myself. So I just got to express myself. And I hung out with my females and I played with Barbies and I did all the dress up and everything. And no one my mothers and aunties ever had a problem with it. If my father came in, he would be like, go do some boy stuff, which never made sense. And I'd actually have to stop playing with my female cousins and go play with my brothers and my male cousins who were doing whatever they were doing, which was fun. I would actually play with them, and they'd be like, "No, Dwight, you crazy, but you can do both." I learned how to be adaptable. Like I never was like, "Oh, I can't do this." They were just like, "Well, if you're gonna be out here, you're gonna play," and we throwing rocks at each other. So I hated it, but we threw rocks at each other, and every time I got mad, boop, just bink them right back. So I mean, that was the homosocialism that I learned with my brothers. Just like they were like, oh, if you're gay, you're gonna be a tough gay. That's how they saw it. I didn't know again what the word gay meant or what it was attached to or how powerful it was and how it makes so much change and how you are able to step into a whole new place of assertion in life. But I was still trying to figure out emotions. So let me say this. Not only was I walking out as a young man not knowing my emotions, I didn't know what my emotions meant towards myself, towards other, the interpretation of my own ethnicity when it came to being gay, because there's no black, oh, when I grew up, ain't no gay black people, ain't no gay black men, you ain't gay and black. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know how many men I've met who are black, who are gay? Mm. Suspect. What you? Y'all better quit lying. But it was the thing that my parents, again, the simple answer is they had no answer. So there's a whole think about this. I'm a singular person. There's a whole tribe of children out there who grew up, and are growing up without knowing these answers. Additionally to the answers their counterparts get. If you choose to say that you're not gay, whatever that means for you, whatever world you choose to adapt in, which is the dating world, because the only way to adapt is through dating. That's how everyone gets to know each other. They go out, they hang out with their friends, someone dates somebody else, then this person exchanges energy with this person. This is how children are made. It's all about mating on some level. Mating is just meeting friendship, tribe, and other, but it's still within the realms of dating, getting to know people's time and energy. So when you're doing that, if you're not predominantly understanding what gay is, you're not going to know how to tell a gay man. You're not going to know how to tell a gay child. So I never got upset when I saw people living through fear. I remember the first time my brother said it, he wasn't trying to be malicious or any malice behind it, but I saw the fear of what he thought was going to be a hard life for me. And he's like, bro, I know you're leaving junior high, you're about to come to high school, but it's different. Like, don't come to high school acting gay. And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, this is my brother. We share rooms, we hang out, we've done so much together. He's always been there for me, protecting me. This was him telling me without him realizing it, I can't protect you no more. Like you had a good life as a gay kid because I was your bully. I beat people up for you. I protected you. I didn't know this. But he did, and I love him and thank him for that. And I wish everyone can have a big brother like that who's secretly your superhero, taking people out for you. But at the same time, because I grew up in the same household with the same type of, you know, conditioning, I knew how to box. I knew how to take care of myself. I knew how to fight. And he used to forget that, like, oh yeah, I forgot. You know how to take care of yourself. And I'm like, that's what y'all used to tell me I had to do. I didn't know what for. I just knew I had to be prepared for this battle that was happening. And yeah, so it was just an out of sight, out of mind thing where I love him, but it was typical school, typical movie. He acknowledged me, but we didn't talk too much. His friends knew who I was. He played basketball and football. He was a jock. He was popular. He was well liked by the females. Juwan, your brother, and I learned, I didn't learn what gay was either, but I started to learn what the culture, what people thought gay was to them. So even within my understanding of learning myself, I didn't get to learn myself, not until I was much, much older. I still had to live about a good 23 years of my life working through other people's conditioning and biased outlook on what homosexuality is, or pansexualism is, or bisexualism, or trans, or anything about loving your true energy and just loving yourself. The body, like, I do not live for this flesh. I live for this heart and the love and the soul that permeates the energy to give animation to this flesh. The flesh of how it looks is just the cupcakes on top. But the, not frosting, honey. I want cupcakes on top of my shit. I just learned very quickly that it wasn't something essentially important to care about. Believe it or not, without a reflection or someone telling me what I look like, I don't know what I look like. So this is not, it was not the first thing on my forefront. It was, how do I find love and how do I be loved? How do I find the type of love that my parents have for each other? Not the type of love that they have for us, the type of love that they have for each other. Their bond is still unbreakable 30 some years later. Hang out every single day. It's disgusting. I want it. But I already have it. It's already here. Because that's the point of it. When you know you have it, you always receive it. And there's no real want in my life. It's just gratitude and flow. And I accept and I love it. And I thank you for it. So I forgot where I left off. But where I was saying was, once I realized that he was telling me, I can't protect you anymore. You're on your own, kid. Like, if someone talk shit or do something, I can't. These are my boys. This is my people. I can't stop everything, because once you do social conditioning and you're meant to go out into the world and hold multiple relationships with multiple people and not energetically cross wire them and be mad at your best friend because you're mad at this person for talking to your best friend. That's ridiculous, and that's how we get introduced to becoming energy vampires. Well, you can't talk to them because I'm not talking to them. That's energetically crazy, because now they're carrying your energy that you have unresolved, and then they're mad and trying to carry this on for you with this person. Doesn't make sense. So now energetically you're just creating all these triangulations of, you need to be upset because I'm upset and I don't know why I'm upset. I didn't have time for that in high school either. Imagine that. So I ignored my brother, and I was very out and gay and proud, and people ignored it, and I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. All right. I didn't realize that there was a culture still built behind it of being tall. So I had met a few bullies in my life, but we were friends, and I would always tell them, like, you never tried to bully me. What was up with that? They're like, you 6'4". They're like, who wants to bully a 6'4" dude? They were like, hey, you was pretty fat. I mean, I was a fat kid, so 6'4" fat. They're like, dude, like, we were like, I was 6 foot in the 6th grade. So by the time I hit the 7th grade, I was already about 6'3". So most 6th, 7th graders, 8th, 9th graders, they were probably around, 5'8", 10. So I'm like a skyscraper. So, but again, mirror reflection. I didn't know. I didn't know that gave me another suit of protection for being gay. So I had a really awesome family. And then I had a really awesome outlook on life of being tall. Not saying that short is not that you're awesome. I'm saying these are the things that contributed to my coming out. Because the extra element was the black part. Because there was still an essence of, even my dad and my brothers and my family and my whole life still, black people and gay, we don't talk. We don't like oppression. We don't want to talk about. We talk about it, but we don't talk about the ones we oppress in our own community. We don't do that. We don't. So I learned even through that. That's when I was like, I had a lot of white friends growing up. They were the people who actually took me in faster when it came to being like, we don't care that you're black. Everyone else seems to care. We don't care. These are the people I grew up with. And they weren't apologizing like, I'm sorry for you. No, they're like, I literally do not care. And that was very validating for me, because I was like, thank you. Because I don't give a fuck if you think you care. And if you think you care, it still don't matter. That was the energy that I've always had. So that plus gay, look, 6'4" plus black and gay, in some places it's, people are like, you're crazy. That's scary. But it was also the best protection in the world, because I kept learning inadvertently all the things that people said they feared or should fear, or that were me. Tall people in the dark, fear them. Okay, growing up, still whatever's in the news now and what's happening with our state of being, because I don't want to make it a separation about ethnicities. But at the end of the day, I was still conduced and energetically conditioned in a world that was, you're black, you're gay, you're a man, you can't do this, 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 and this, and this. And I'm like, the fuck I can't. Movies like Tu Wong Fu, like with Wesley Snipes, like I don't even think he understands what that movie had did for me. Like, yes, French, honey, yes, that's how I learned, watching movies, telling me, here's how you become who you are. Here's how you embrace yourself. Here's how you embrace how you love yourself. And I trusted the mouths and the answers of strangers more than the people who I grew up with, because they showed me a great foundation, but it was an empty vessel. And if you don't know how to fill up your vessel and you're constantly going throughout life waiting for others to do it for you, you will get a lot of things filled up in there that you do not want or ask for, that will weigh you down and stress you out. And you're like, well, how did this happen? And it was allowance. As much as we allow things to pile up and happen to us, we fight the same allowance for them just to let them happen to us. Because some things are really helping us in the long run. It doesn't seem like it. Just like, again, a tree does not grow overnight, honey. It takes many seasons, elements, and things of it going through shit to get to where it's at, to still stand and be a shade to you in the hottest days when it's still getting burnt on top. You nice and cool, it's still getting burnt on top. So purposes don't stop being served because the functionality, it seems one-sided. It benefits all to understand that energetically we are here to help each other. And if we can't give back in a way that's educational, then what's the purpose of doing it? So as I learned when I did this, I walked in full-fledged knowing, all right, being a boy and being gay and being openly gay the way I am, it's a stigma. But are you going to fear the stigma, or are you just going to trust who you are more? And I trusted myself, and I've trusted myself the entire path, and I will continue to trust myself on this path. The reason I made this video is not to try to teach anyone or tell someone what to do. It's to let them know my story and my journey has become my legacy. Being energetically open to love has allowed me to love the kundalini within inside of me and awaken my divine masculine and sacred feminine inside of me, and they now love each other enough to see the balance they need. Not only do I need to energetically use my divine masculine energy to protect, but I need to use my divine feminine energy to love. That way together they create creation. Structure plus design is creation. That is simply a seed. The design is in the seed. The outside is the hard shell that protects. Once the seed and the design is complete, then it splits that shell. The shell becomes the roots. The rest grows out. The sprouts goes, and as above, so below. Together they work together to create love and balance and empathy and understanding. Logic is simply our emotions expressed in the way that we say this works. Structurally, this is sound. But it doesn't stop the creation that comes out of it and that surrounds it. So you don't have to always focus on just building one way. You can build a multitude of different ways, but you have to acknowledge the energy inside of you. You have to acknowledge the balance of your ebb and flow, your yin and yang, you're the one who protects and the one who nurtures, the one who coddles and the one who covers. This is what it's for. When you can love both of those inside of yourself and say, I am autodidactic, I can see both sides at all times. And when you are open to saying you're gay, bisexual, trans, pan, anything in the all around our world, the LGBTQ plus world in general, when you come out publicly about who you are energetically and how you love, you are instantly fast forwarded into a spiritual journey. You're accelerated to a level of assertion where you have to see everything from an autodidactic level. How this world looks at it, how on the 3D level, men and women look at it this way. On the biological sense, energetically, the feminine and masculine look at it this way in this paradigm. And then when you walk out of that world, you realize you're not a part of it. Then you're out in the gay section where it's like, so what are gay people? And the people who out here don't know, you have to learn to people who still don't know. Homosocialism is learning from the same type of energy and group that you are. So that's straight bi, gay, or other. But at the same time, I'm now learning from other gay men who still haven't learned how to love themselves through the unhealed shadow work of their family, who didn't own them, just, didn't teach them love, didn't teach them about sex. And now we're out here trying to learn who we are through our bodies. Not through how we see things and how we love, but we were having to learn through our bodies. This is what being gay was, being taught through fear. And I want to give a new level of teaching to our new youth, which is, honey, you can love yourself and respect yourself and have expectations through your own understanding of processing. You cannot put expectations on others. There is nothing that you can do to explain another's actions or put an expectation on it for the outcome. It will become what it becomes based on their free will and the path which they're on. But you can have expectations of yourself. Do not judge yourself harshly, but expectations do help you set certain goals within that realm. This is the law of duality. Everything has a cause and effect, and you can use that interchangeably. It's not just one word that means something bad or good. Implied intent is very important. All words are spells because it not only spells out a word, but each letter has a sound that came from someone trying to express how they needed to get the intent. Now that's a sound. Now that's an A. Okay, A. And. Now I want and because now there's a conceptual meaning on top of an implied intent that's connected to all of that. That is a spell casting because now the person knows what to do. I will follow this spell once it's put on you. So the words that you own are the things that you become, and how you love yourself and talk to yourself is how you energetically express yourself. So this journey has begun because I was learning that on one side, my family loved me so much they protected me to allow me to see what love felt like. And then energetically, I'm back out in the world emotionally getting to fill it up with what I know love is to me. And it's been a very long journey, and it's not over. And this is only part of the chronicles. This is just having a conversation that makes others. There's a new wave of generation coming in each and every day, and I don't know when they're going to see this. And this is the point of information. It's not about who do you think you are or any of this. People, we need to start putting content out, period. Because the next generation after the next generation, they're going to be completely electronic. They already are getting there. This is when you go from the old heads to millennials. They were catapulted into technology. So if you're not reaching them the way they need to be reached, how will they learn? I became out of love and I became love because I was able to facilitate the energy that was unresolved for others around me, and I got to interpret that in a way that processed it down to a point of me saying that's not my energy, so therefore it does not belong to me, but I know how to dwell in it and still be myself. This is what I want to teach the next generation, and I will, and I am. And I know that others are able to do it the same. Express yourself and tell your stories, because when you tell your story, you're telling the journey of many, many others who walked the path before or behind you, or they started their own new path and it became the same journey, just a separate destination. Remember, this is all about recognizing yourself and becoming aware with who you truly are. I will continue the saga Anatomy of Being Gay on the next episode. I thank you, loves, for watching this far. I just want this to be as cathartic as possible. Conversations with friends. There's no script. I'm not reading anything. This is just straight off my dome. I just want to express my energy, and I want people to express their energy. And we have conversations, and we get back to building and filling each other up. Because we already know how to do the framework. That's easy. We can make a template, but do we know how to give it the content and the colors it deserves? No more of this handing each other tools, trying to fill up a toolbox, and then we go out here with these toolboxes and we don't know what the hell we're building. Let's hand each other a full functioning toolbox so we can go create and ask if it's a stable foundation. That way we can skip past all the little nuances of, oh, well, this tool does this and this one, and then my grandmother passed this down to my grandfather. Great. How about here, love, go create love. I thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. I will be doing anatomy of something new. I don't know, but I will continue to just add to these topics. They're just going to go with the free flow. There is, again, no rhyme or reason because I don't have to do that. It's all about what I want to do. All right. I love you guys. Check me out, epicinity.org. That is where I have my blogs if you want to see some of my writings and check out some of my services there. Also, I have my Facebook page and my Instagram. I do daily quotes every day. So if you just want a little boost of whatever you want to feel, they make me happy and I like to share them. I also have my Patreon account down there. So if you like what I do, feel free to share your love and I love you as well. Thank you guys for watching the episode of EQ with JAH. I love you. Many besos. Have a great day, loves. Bye.